And now the Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, has described as inconsistent the dismissal of defamation suit filed by investigative journalist Anas Arimia Anas against Member of Parliament of Asin Central, Kennedy Ejapon, by a high court in Accra. In the ruling, the court, presided by Justice Eric Barr, a Court of Appeal judge sitting with additional responsibility as a high court, dismissed the case for lacking merit. But speaking on News File, Director for Advocacy and Policy Engagement and CDD Ghana, Dr. Kojo Pompuni Asante, said the judge's decision to raises red flags and is not consistent with the law.
The defendant has admitted that he basically is setting out to prove these things that he has said it. Of course, in the murder case, for instance, in the one that he's talking about, Jamie Dankwa, he says, well, I also called him a murderer because of that. But it doesn't extend to whether that also means that the Chinese people that he supposedly had killed is also related to that same matter, or whether he doesn't even mention the tax evasion or any of these things. So I think that's why, for me, as I said, the judge's effort to determine facts in this case is quite interesting, because it raises so many red flags in my mind, because it's not consistent with even the way he's laid out the law itself. So at least on that matter, for me, I feel that the job was not done. I mean, I don't see how you kind of move from the legal test, because this is still criminal conduct that you're talking about. Remember that in the determination that he's made, anyway, and we'll come to KO1, he has convicted other people apart from Anas.
And also, the Executive Director of Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Ibrahima, believes that the judge's ruling went beyond the fact of the case established.
I saw a clear instance of, the whole case moving beyond whether or not Anas is established, whether Kennedy Ejapon was able to prove that Anas is a murderer, a thief, extortionist, a bribe taker, a criminal, to the judge examining the methodology Anas uses and whether or not journalistically that is appropriate or not appropriate. And then I asked myself there, was this judge a journalist before becoming a judge? Or was he maybe an academic in the media sector before becoming? Because clearly he was trying to establish what is right, what is wrong, to the point where he then goes on to say what is being practiced is not investigative journalism, but something else. So for me, I think that the judgment or the decision by the judge went beyond probing whether what Ken said was true or not true, justifiable, fair, and whatever, to actually himself defaming the character of Anas. But of course, this was in court, and I doubt what can be done to a judge, but I believe that if this was being said on the streets, that would have amounted to another instance of defamation.
And now the senior partner at law firm Sarkodie Bafo Ewa and Partners, Nana Ej Bafo Ewa, however, says the judge must be commended for his ruling. He says the decision by the court to dismiss the defamation suit was not made in vacuum.
The decision was not in a vacuum, plain and simple. It wasn't in a vacuum. It was based on the law, and that the law has a defined basis for what constitutes defamation. Defamation. And so, therefore, the decision was not in a vacuum.
Okay.
Secondly, when it comes to judgment, you and I know that it is not always that judges get it right. And so, therefore, sometimes even references to the law might be wrong. And so, if the law is set out right, we must commend a judge for doing that, because then we know that he was going, on the basis of established principles. He was not committing an error of law, right? And so for me, I think that in that regard, he has to be commended.
Okay.
Now, what people don't, I appreciate the point that Mr. Suleimana just made. I think that I've also seen comments on social media to the effect that Anas went to a civil court and came out as a felon. And I also get that. It is because, some of our colleagues, as they rightly admitted, they are not lawyers. And so some of these things they would not understand. It is possible to make claims that have criminal connotations, right, in a civil matter.
Now, away from that, increasing road tolls is the way to go in shoring up revenue domestically. And this is according to economist and political risk analyst, Dr. Teo Echampon. It will be recalled that in November 2021, the Finance Ministry announced the cessation of the collection of road tolls subject to the approval of Parliament during the presentation of the budget. Mr. Oforiatta cited congestion and traffic jams at the toll booths as justification for the decision. On the back of this, the Roads and Highway Minister, Mr. Kwesi Amwako Atta, issued a press release to cancel the collection of road toll before Parliament could deliberate on the proposal which was presented by the Finance Minister. However, in a memo dated March 10, 2023, the Finance Minister sought inputs on the new proposed rate from the Roads and Highway Ministry. Speaking on Newsfile, Dr. Teo Echampon entreated government to assess issues of policy coherence through regulatory impact assessment and called for the judicious use of funds that will be collected from the tolls.
It's a good decision to reintroduce the road tolls. Everywhere in the world, people pay road tolls. So when it was scrapped, I was on this very platform to actually say it didn't make much sense to actually scrap it in the first instance. And again, it indicates what Eduji kind of was trying to highlight, the policy incoherence and inconsistency with some of the things. So bringing it back is good, one. Increasing the toll amount, again, for me, I fully support that. The issue is we want to see what the money is being used for. And we need to make sure that these new road tolls that are being reintroduced, so it was actually never scrapped. Technically, it was zero rated. So that then gives the government opportunity to reintroduce. But we want to see that the monies are channeled into certain specific road projects and certain construction. And number two, we also want to ensure that this is not swallowed within the whole earmarking structure that the government is following. But from where I sit, I fully support the introduction or the reintroduction of the road tolls.
Now, the Nkranza Police Divisional Command has commenced investigation into the alleged burning of properties by aggrieved resident of Ashim who are accusing the Nkranza traditional authorities of selling their farmlands to a non-resident investor. The residents, who are mainly farmers, allegedly marched to the mango farm of the investor and eventually set ablaze a house constructed to provide shelter for laborers and subjected 3 of the laborers to severe beatings before cutting down most of the newly planted mango trees. The affected investor, Nana Kweku Atakra, who spoke to JoyNews, is appealing to government and the police service to intervene swiftly to save lives and properties. Anat Sabit has more.
Days after embarking on a massive demonstration in protest of the alleged sales of Ashayim farmlands to unknown investors, these aggrieved residents of Ashayim marched to the farms to allegedly attack workers of the investor and in the process burnt down these structures that served as a hut for the hired laborers. Yakubu Isako is one of the victims of these attacks. He tells me what happened on that fateful day.
Ana akuma for na womsa shame for umatu so ase eburu yakayaka wase.
It was around 10 a.m. when the aggrieved farmers got here and started beating us, asking for the whereabouts of our manager. And when we failed to produce him, they continued with the beating before finally setting the structures ablaze. The alleged attackers, after nearly 4 hours of distractions, further conveyed Yakubu Isaku to the Ashayim community, where he, together with the other victims, were handed over to the traditional authority.
There were more
than 100 in numbers. They took us to the chief and told him these are the people who met at the farms in the absence of the manager. They also told him they burnt the place after subjecting us to some beatings. Amabadu was also on the farm when the incident occurred. Though she was spared from the beatings, she tells me she has since been traumatized by what she witnessed during the attacks.
I cried
a lot after witnessing what they did to the guys. I have since been traumatized. Even as I stand here with you, I'm still afraid because they told us they will attack us again anytime they see us here. So I'm still afraid. I
4 days,
I had to stay away from food for 4 days due to what I witnessed. For the investor whose farmland and properties worth hundreds of thousands of Ghana cedis were destroyed, Nana Kweku Atakra, the alleged unprovoked attack is a sign that the people around are against his decision to help promote agriculture as well as provide jobs to the people.
I moved
several miles into the forest to avoid having problems with people. There are others ahead, but their farms were not attacked, so it shows clearly I was their target. Nana Kweku Atakra's humble appeal to government and the security agencies is to help fish out the perpetrators of the attack to prevent further attacks on innocent individuals. I'm appealing to government to help fish out the perpetrators before they repeat same on others. He, however, denied the alleged claims by these farmers who are claiming to be the rightful owners of the lands, and also asked that his farm project will go a long way in complementing the government's planting food and jobs policy.
As I see it, Nanan Kransa Himadia. To Nanan Kransa Hima, and Wakasu, was I see you how demand Crofo, I do a Bruno Cromum Renibi.
The land belongs to the Queen Mother of the Nkranza traditional area, and she's the one who gave it to me to farm on it. So I want government to come to my aid because this is in conformity with government's quest to help develop the country through agriculture. For now, the Nkranza Divisional Police Command has initiated investigations into the matter to help bring sanity to the area. Anna Sabit, JoyNews, Ashayim.
Now, the Ghana Police Service has set up 2 independent committees to investigate the death of 27-year-old Abubakar Shahid, who was killed by the police anti-robbery unit in Wa on March 8th. This was disclosed by Director General of the Police in charge of administration, COP Christian Tete Yohunu, when he led a delegation to commiserate with the family of Shahid. His death sparked protest in Wa, and the police administration says it is leaving no stone unturned in their bid to uncover the truth. JoyNews Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam was in Wa and reports.
The delegation of the Inspector General of the Ghana Police Service to the family of Abubakar Shahid, who was shot dead by the police on March 8, was led by the Director General in charge of Police Administration, COP Christian Tete Yohunu. The purpose was to condole and to commiserate with the grieved family over the loss, and also to inform them of the steps taken by the police administration to unravel the truth regarding the death of the 27-year-old Islamic student.
We are the people. You people have given us a uniform. We should work to protect life and property. We have done our best to make sure that the country remains safe. In the course of our work, where we go wrong, we will come back and say we are wrong and we are sorry. We plead with them that they should hold their hearts and let us wait for these 2 special teams that have come to investigate what happened. And the outcome of investigation will come back here and then to confirm to them.
COP Christian Tete Yohonu disclosed that since the incident happened, IGP Dr. George Akufo-Dampare has not slept over the issue and has since set up 2 independent committees to look into the issue for the necessary action to be taken.
When we heard of this incident that happened, immediately the IGP did not sleep over it. He called the regional commander, that was around almost this time, that he should come to Accra, arrive in Accra the same day. We were waiting in the office up to around 10 p.m. when he arrived. So you see how seriously the IGP and the Police Management Board, they've taken the incident that happened seriously. Yeah. After the briefing, we still believe that we have to send independent police investigation teams to come and find out exactly what happened. Immediately, we have to dispatch PPSB, that is formerly called PIPS, and so they came. After that, we still believe that we should get another report to support whatever PPSB has done. So yesterday night, another special investigation team was dispatched by the IGP from the CID headquarters to also come and do in-depth investigation.
Family members of Abubakar Said, since his death, has insisted that the deceased was a mistaken target and for that matter, not an armed robber, as put out by the police, and will want the name of the latter cleared from the despicable and disgraceful act. Spokesperson for the family, Mohammed Tamimu Kalusha, on behalf of the family, thanked the IGP for the steps taken so far to unravel the truth. Yarwa wants fairness and justice to prevail in the attempt to unravel the truth.
They have only one proposal. Where our son was going, that the man is still alive. If you could pick his number, our son's number, and that of the Fulani man at large, because he was to communicate that one of the third party should come where our brother was shot. Those other numbers, when you go to the telecommunication center, you can get audios between 7:30 to 8. I believe that was the time the incident happened, so that that one will also aid you in your investigation. However, they remain committed to your work. They will remain calm and wait for the outcome. But justice is nothing but what they want.
COP Tete Yohonu, who was accompanied by the Director General of MTTD, COP Francis Ebenezer Doku, and the Chairman of the One Municipal Security Council and One Mayor, Isaac Otair Mumin, also had separate meetings with the father of the deceased, whose health condition, according to the family, has worsened, and the visual impaired mother, who is yet to come to terms with what transpired. COP Tete Yohonu assured them of the police administration's commitment to get to the bottom of the matter and justice will be served. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam. Wow.
You're still watching JoyNews Prime on the JoyNews channel. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back. We have more for you. Welcome back. Now, the minority leader, Haruna Idris, former minority leader Haruna Idrisu, has filed his nomination forms to contest the National Democratic Congress parliamentary primaries in the Tamale South constituency, highly tipped to retain the seat. The Haruna Idrisu says his work in the constituency is not yet done. Accompanied by a crowd, the Member of Parliament for Tamale South is in his 5th term and handed over his nomination forms to the constituency office of the NDC, whilst giving hope to will-be aspirant to feel free and contest him. The Tamale South Member of Parliament assured that he will win re-election by a landslide, touting his prowess and growing influence over the years.
So I'm here to honor the NDC party constitutional requirement of filing my nomination as the NDC unbeatable candidate for Tamale. 2024 general elections. I can extend my numbers beyond Bruno Hafu region towards some other regions. That in the last presidential and parliamentary election made a significant contribution of 69,000 votes. Wow. My pledge this year with your assurance and support is 90,000 for John Mahama or whoever wins the NDC presidential primary. I'm a consummate Democrat. I'm open to competition today and tomorrow. I'm open to competition.
Now, the Deputy Minister in charge of technical and vocational training has commended Sunyani Technical University for their foresight to be ahead of the government in training STEM and TVET-oriented students. Gifty Chum Ampofo, speaking at the university's graduation ceremony in Sunyani, said such creative thinking students are needed to solve challenges, including those brought on by climate change. Precious Semevo has more.
The 15th graduation ceremony of Sunyani Technical University on the theme Innovation and Entrepreneurship Skills Education for Sustainable Development had a total of 2,286 student graduates, including 787 females, representing 34.4% for the award of BTech, HND and diploma certificates. In his address, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Kwadwo Dinkrapia, said a new gender policy in line with the strategic plan of the university has been approved.
Affirmative action, including 20% discount for women in engineering programs at the university and priority attention for women who qualify for employment, has been prescribed in the policy to promote the development of women in the university. The gender policy, in tandem with the existing sexual harassment policy, will also help streamline gender issues in the university.
He bemoaned the lack of office accommodation for staff, inadequate classrooms and hostels for students, and poor internal road network, and appealed for a quick fix to aid teaching and learning.
Honorable, so you inform the minister himself so that you work towards this, because it is very key to the Sunyani Technical University, so that you can help us complete the phase 2 of the Get Fund Science Park project to provide more classrooms and offices for staff, help construct a 1,000-bed capacity hostel to accommodate our cherished students, provide an asphalt overlay on all campus roads.
The Deputy Minister of Education in charge of technical and vocational education training, Gifty Chum Ampofo, said the government has a mandate to achieve in STEM and TVET education in the next 2 years. She commended STU for leading the way in training students capable of solving the challenges of today.
Many problems brought on by climate change demand fresh thinking and creative solutions. I'm glad to commend the university to go beyond government targets by training over 67% of students, especially graduates today, being STEM and TVET oriented. The government has a mandate to reach that target in the next 2 years. A crucial component of sustainable development must be education and training that encourages students to think creatively and entrepreneurially. This government has intensified effort to transform the phase of technical and vocational education and training TVET to produce a critical mass of assertive and employable youth to spear our socio-economic transformation.
Awards were presented to deserving students, with Musa Mercy named the overall best student. Precious Semevo, JoyNews, Sunyani.
And that's all we have for you on JoyNews Prime. With me, Razak Musbau. Up next, we have some sports for you on Scoreboard with me very shortly.